Welcome back to another episode of That's Business. Today's guest is a Penn State grad with a BS in Communication Science and Disorders and a Tiffin University grad with an MBA in Healthcare Administration. Arianna is currently a senior supply chain analyst in IT sourcing at the Cleveland Clinic. Her and her husband live in Columbus with their 115-pound chocolate lab named Gunther. And yes, this is from the show Friends. Arianna, I'm so excited to have you on. And for those of you that don't know who she is one of my favorite people I was blessed to meet while at Penn State. So we have a lot of good stuff to catch up on.
Oh, yes, 100%. All the good times.
Yes. Working for Cleveland Clinic. Now, did you know you wanted to be in the healthcare system, or what did you want to be when you grew up?
So growing up, I actually wanted to originally be an audiologist because, as you know, I had hearing aids since the age of 5. So very dear and near to my heart, if you will. So I've always thought, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Did my bachelor's of science in communication and science disorders at Penn State, and then did go to doctorate school for audiology. And I decided, no thanks. So instead, I then pivoted and said, I still want to be in healthcare, but I want to do something that's more versatile. My husband, Joe, actually did his MBA in finance at Tiffin University and had just finished that. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what they have. Sure enough, they had an MBA in healthcare administration that was online. So I was able to work, which was super, super nice, and still get my degree. So then after Tiffin, I worked at Equity for 4 years in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania during COVID. So right when we all shut down, I said, here you go, here's your home remote job. And then the opportunity of Cleveland Clinic came about and I just jumped on it and took it. Now I've been here for a year and I don't know, 4 months now. Feels like forever, but it's been so awesome. I absolutely love it.
I just saw on LinkedIn that you and Joe were just traveling to Europe over Labor Day weekend and you got to visit Cleveland Clinic in London. Please tell us about that.
So yes, it was our 5-year anniversary and we decided go big or go home. So we did a trip to London, Dublin, and Paris, and Cleveland Clinic has one of our 3 international hospitals. We have one in Canada, one in London, and one in Abu Dhabi. So I figured, why not? Going over the pond, you're there. So I was fortunate enough to connect with some colleagues over there and get a tour of the whole clinic, which was super awesome. Very similar to the main campus in Cleveland, Ohio, but definitely a smaller scale. But it was just so interesting to see the different things that they have there that we don't at Maine, or what Maine has and they don't there. And then just like getting to learn their different regulations of how they can do certain things versus we can't. Like at pharmacy, they package their medications via machine, not a thing in the US. But it was a really, really cool experience. And the best part was Joe and I both got to scrub up in purple scrubs. And I must say, we look very good in purple scrubs.
Might have to include that picture when we post this episode so people can see it, but
I'll be sure you get that.
Yes. And what a cool experience. I mean, where did you kind of even think to have this idea? I mean, when I travel, I'm like, you know what? Nope, I'm in no work mode and I'm not even thinking about work. So I feel like that just goes to show how much you genuinely like your job and what you're doing. So how did the London colleagues take to you, or was there any type of differences you saw outside of regulations and that you've already talked about?
They were so open and, oh my gosh, someone from the US, let's show them everything we can. It was just something like, to me, it didn't feel like work. Yes, it was work, but it didn't feel like work. It was just something I was like, if I have this opportunity while I'm going over there, why not? I mean, like nobody else in that, well, besides the people that helped to build Cleveland Clinic London, nobody else has really gotten to see the final product. My director was like, please take every picture possible and you will be doing a PowerPoint presentation. And I said, sure, I got you. Don't worry.
Here's my trip to London for my anniversary and Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah. So it was just a why not thing. You're there, do it. Who cares? The worst they could have said was, no, sorry, we can't do that. It was no questions asked. Now, here, Joe probably would not have been allowed to scrub up. It's like not a thing here. No, it's just very different. But I mean, we were making sure we were safe about everything. Obviously, no PHI stuff. So it was very well covered. But yeah, they were so intrigued that someone from the US was there. And every time they're like, oh, where are you from? And Joe would say Ohio. They're like, from the States.
The States? What is that sorcery?
So it was just so funny to see their reaction when we would say, oh, we're from the US. Oh my gosh, this is so great. We have to give you everything.
And I feel like that's like universal across the board of, at least when I've had either friends, family, or people I've just met in the wild of from other countries. It's like, oh my gosh, here's all the best things you have to do. So I love that that's universal.
Yeah.
You're a senior supply chain analyst in IT sourcing. So for someone that may seem like a foreign language, so break it down for us of what exactly your day in the life looks like and what you do.
Ignore IT. It's not like IT. It's just I do IT contracts. So dumbed down, if you will. It's literally doing the software contracts. So I'm specifically handling our library contracts, research, pharmacy, path lab, and there's another one. Oh, emergency services. So I handle any of the contracts that have for those groups that have software of some sort for whatever they're buying or already have in place. And I just help to negotiate down better prices for them, better terms, if you will. So I'm working with a lot of what we call our end users or Cleveland Clinic as a whole, caregivers, and helping them to make sure they're getting these contracts renewed on time, getting a deal that they should be getting, or if they don't need it, helping them to get rid of it and move into something else. And then also working with them to like process that through our legal team as well. So it's a kind of being a middleman, if you will, between a couple people, but I get to do a lot of the, no, sorry, we're not going to do that with the vendor and be the bad guy, which sometimes fun, sometimes I really don't want to do that, but I really do enjoy it. It's very much the opposite of what I used to do at Ecri, which was more so helping to find savings. And now here I am trying to get the savings, especially right now with the healthcare industry. We're just trying to get every penny that we can to help keep everybody moving. But yeah, that's the simple way to try to put it. There's some other stuff in between the down and dirty. We do also do sourcing. So when they want to buy a new product or have an idea of something that they would like to purchase, but they don't know what vendors are out there, we'll do what we call an RFP, so request for a proposal, and help them go through that whole process and vet the vendors and do all the demos and all that fun stuff, and then do their final product and go through the contract portion, do the terms, the pricing, and all that good stuff.
All that fun stuff. Now, how did you find this field? Because I know we talked, went for the doctorate and said audiologist is not. And I feel like so many people do that oh my gosh, I also was one of those in a different field. But how did you land on this supply chain realm and what you're doing, or where you found like, oh, this is it. I like doing this.
I think through my first job, real job, if you will, out of school, with Ecri, like it was supply chain in a different aspect and just doing the contracts and trying to help people like say, oh, okay, well, we've seen hospitals save between 30 and 40% on their contracts. You could save this much on that. That's like a different side of it. And I really was like, okay, I think it'd be interesting to be on the other side of supply chain and like understanding the contracts and why those prices are the way they are, or what terms they really are getting to, protect themselves, but then like also the vendor protecting themselves too. Working with people is the big thing, and the whole supply chain as a whole, especially in healthcare, was one of the things that interested me even in my MBA classes, just like learning about it and how there's multiple steps and everything in the hospital has a contract. Food services has a contract. The robots that go around have a contract. It was so interesting to me that all of those things have something, but you don't necessarily see that as a patient. You're just like, oh, it's a hospital, but there's just so many moving parts. I really like that side of knowing those things. And that's, I think, why I really like supply chain so much.
True. I mean, even just the inner workings, as I've spent all of this month pretty much in and out of the hospital visiting my grandmother who had open heart surgery. But even looking around, and we're at University of Michigan. Don't worry, I'm never going to be a U of M fan, as us Penn Staters. But it's so interesting. I mean, the technology to like scan every medication she's getting, or the carts the doctors use for rounds, like their striker carts, and that's a contract they have. Like, it's wild as I've been working from this hospital. Just, it's a business. I mean, people don't think about hospitals are a business, but just like you would do in a corporation of cost savings, get better price, optimizations, like that's so important. I think people forget a lot. Like healthcare is like that too. So that's super interesting. Now, something I really want to talk about, if you feel comfortable, because you have enlightened me on this subject so much, following you on social media and touching base every so often. I know you were diagnosed with MS a few years back. If you feel comfortable, because you have shed so much light on it, where I had and I don't know that you know this, I don't know that she reached out, but I had a friend I grew up with actually got diagnosed in the last few months. And I'm like,
oh, really?
On, girl, Ari, like she is the best of knowing everything about it. So if you feel comfortable, tell us your journey there and what came about with it. And
absolutely. So don't get married during 2020. Not recommended.
Yeah.
Not recommended. So a little bit back in 2019, I started having some back issues, and it was, oh, this is out of place. Just, the ongoing doctor things. They're not really sure. They're just, passing you along as far as they can, giving you whatever to make you happy and hoping you don't come back, essentially. I did end up going to a chiropractor to start, and that definitely helped, but things were still not getting better. I ended up getting the worst, my first colonoscopy at 26. Good luck with that. When you're older, it's not fun. Warning. And they were like, oh, you have IBS. Sure, whatever. No, none of that was true. Later down the line, I did figure out that I was actually gluten-free this entire time and had no idea.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Thought you were lactose intolerant? No, you're probably gluten intolerant. Do it the right way, though. Go to the doctor, because I didn't. But I started feeling better doing that. So then as things got closer and closer, we were getting married in September. And as things got closer and closer, 6 weeks before, our venue said, hey, so you can do this, but you have to sit with who you came with. You can't dance. You can't walk around. Everything that's not a wedding. But they were super awesome about it. And we're like, look, we get it. We'll give you your money back. It's not that big of a deal. Like, maybe you could do something later. And we're like, great, awesome. So 6 weeks before, I reached out to family friends of ours who fortunately have a barn on their property where they did their wedding 3 years prior. And it still had the chandeliers and some of the lights and stuff set up. I said, hey, will you help us out? Can we do this here? And they did. And it was like the perfect thing. But I had lost a lot of weight, and everybody was like, is it wedding stress or something else going on? I didn't notice it. I'm like, I'm still eating. What are you talking about? And now I look back at photos and I'm like, oh my. So to the wedding day, perfectly fine. All goes great. Then we had to do a mini moon because Hawaii got canceled, obviously. Went to the Outer Banks, came back, and I still was having a lot. Oh, I missed this part. So 6 weeks prior, I started getting numbness from my feet up into my hips randomly, and like was still going to Cairo. He's like, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't seem right. So after we came back from our mini moon, I had said to him, like, do you think I should see a specialist? And he said, yeah, you should go to an orthopedic. So I did. Nothing on my x-ray, did a lower body MRI, and we have to refer you to a neurologist. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. Did a full body MRI, head and the entire spine, and I lit up like a Christmas tree. I had several lesions throughout my brain and my spine, and my brain was actually inflamed. So I had to be on like a steroid for a week at home, injecting myself. Not fun. I mean, thank God my girlfriend lived with us at the time because she was a nurse. And I'm like, please watch me do this. And then finally on October 22nd, 2020, I was officially diagnosed with MS. And right away, we came up with a plan. My neurologist, Dr. Kroll, was absolutely awesome at LGH. One of the biggest things for her was, since I was 26 at the time, starting on an aggressive medicine would be most beneficial because my body can adapt faster. So I was officially put on Ocrevus, as you've probably seen in the commercials.
Yeah.
And I've been on Ocrevus now. So I technically just started year 6 but it's only year 5 of Ocrevus because when I switched jobs, I did have to switch to the disease modifying therapy. So I was on Rotuxan or Truxima. Yeah, one of those words, which is a sister drug, but it was amazing to me to see how different the Ocrevus is compared to the Rotuxan, even though they have the same base. Ocrevus is so much more aggressive, and I noticed it severely the past year being on that, and then finally got my Ocrevus approved again, and I just already feel so much better. But being on the Ocrevus as long as I have no new lesions. My one has totally suppressed and went away, and what we call the mothership is staying put. So everything's been good, but yeah, it's been a long, now starting 6 years, which is also hard to believe, but it's wild. Never did I think. And when you're first diagnosed, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Wrong. You're not. You're really not. Midlife crisis, bought my car, my Challenger. Love that car.
As you should.
But no, it's scary at first, but there is such a big community that a lot of people are not aware about. And rightfully so. It's not a commonly talked about autoimmune disease. And now being in it is just, wow, there are more and more people talking about this and coming out about it. I'm following a lot more people on social media that have MS. And then I meet friends with people on social media that have MS and we talk about like our various drugs. I have friends from college, my good guy friends from college. I don't know if you remember Brian Strauss. His sister was diagnosed with MS. So we connected and
no
we've been
way.
talking. Yeah, it's insane how many people you realize you actually know that have MS. And then now, like with Christina Applegate and Jamie Lynn Seeger, their podcast I think it's really starting to help people be more aware about it and talk about it and be more open about it. And same with Selma Blair, like she's everywhere about it. So it's like a lot bigger community than you think it is. And it's just so awesome to have. Not just the help from your family or friends, but just that whole community as well. For things you may not know how to ask your family and friends, or they may not understand, you can go and talk to someone in the National MS Society and say, hey, what do you do for this? And get advice that way too. So it's just super awesome.
And I feel that, I mean, as more people like yourself and others are, in your case, talking about MS or talking about some of these other things on social media, it's awesome. I mean, I'm thrilled to live in the age of technology most of the time, but these various communities, I mean, are such a big help. And when I had a friend that I saw diagnosed, I mean, we grew up on the same street and I'm like, oh my gosh. And she was like crying, like super upset, not in a dramatic way, but she has a good, decent following and has her own business. But I just text her. I'm like, not crossing lines, but just want to tell you. And she's like, oh my gosh, that'd be great. So she might follow you and you don't even know it. But
listen, 100%. I'm all about it. Hit me up.
You've always been this way from over a decade. I've known you. I don't feel like we're old enough to know each other that long.
Don't say that.
No, but you always, I feel like, have this lighthearted humor on things of maybe that's the trauma bonding dark humor, which I really resided with you when we first met. But I feel like you're always someone that's just, you put a positive spin on things without the toxic positivity, but more realistic of this sucks, but it is what it is. Something I want to ask you, what made you keep going? Because you could have taken the IBS diagnosis and been like, whatever, because I don't know that I would have had the patience, but how was it advocating for yourself and just like figuring it out? I mean, what made you want to do that?
Just the constant, I wanted to feel better. I was tired of feeling just sick and ill and tired and just not being able, like I had zero energy and I just wanted to feel better. And I didn't want to stop at, well, it is what it is. Okay, fine, I had IBS, but I still don't believe you because I still feel very, very ill, even when I eat things that are not on the list for IBS. So just kind of testing my own things. I was like, okay, well, if you're not going to help me, I'll do it myself, just because I wanted to feel better. I was just tired of here you go, here's another drug, go try this, go do this. And then like really the numbness thing is what hit it for me. I was like, okay, like there's something seriously wrong. Like we just need to find the person. And thank God for my chiropractor to be like, hey, like definitely go try this person. And then even for the orthopedic to be like, yeah, no, there's something here. You got to go. Anything just to like be up normal, if you will. And okay, I'm not normal because I have MS, but I can still do everything that you can do. So yeah, just the wanting to feel like a person almost.
Absolutely. I know what it looks like as I know you, but for some of those that I'm sure have the question, what does your day-to-day life look like now? Or do you have flare-ups? I mean, how has this impacted your life, especially diet has changed on Ocrevus? I mean, what's that look like for you now?
A lot of it's fresh fruits and vegetables. So the farmer's market is my place to go.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, with being on the Rituxan for a year and seeing that difference, it was just like having to take more gabapentin, which I hated because it makes me tired, or having to take focus medicine because I had brain fog like no tomorrow, and then trying to focus on my job for 8 hours a day because I have to do my job, just being exhausted. So I, for a good year, was fighting insurance, which was not a fun game, but I didn't want to give up because I knew how much I needed the Ocrevus. And that alone just helps me feel like a human being. And then, just taking care of yourself, exercising. You got to get back on the Peloton game because I'm slacking. And just walking the dog. And then I've actually joined a dog therapy group for people with MS. And it's not just dogs. It's like someone has, I think, a bird, cats. Someone has a horse, I want to say. So just talking about how our animals help impact our MS and our happiness, but keep us going and keep us active and moving in some sort of way, because movement is really important in MS. So it's nice to have that as well. Like see what different people do for eating or walking and just exercising in general, or just their mental health in general. So just those kinds of things has really helped just like to stay normal in line and like making sure I'm taking care of myself, but not overdoing it as well. And then just keeping my MS from being in remission, because I do have relapsing remitting. There are 4 types. Fortunately, have the middle, if you will, of the 4 types, but hopefully keep it that way and not go worse. It's most likely that I won't, but it is potential, especially for those who are diagnosed later. Like Christina Applegate, she was diagnosed at 50. So she's experiencing more primary progressive, whereas Jamie Lynn has more relapsing remitting. Even all of those are now supposedly changing. I just got an alert. Is this really what you have? And I'm like, great, more acronyms now.
Right, exactly. So how does this change? I mean, like you said, Christina Applegate being older, obviously hers is a little more severe, it sounds, but, and this might be a stupid question, but can you go in and out of different phases of it could be really worse and then come back? I mean, I didn't even know there were 4 types. So
yeah, 100%. A lot of it has to do with what your body adapts to medicine wise. So like from the 90s when MS was kind of a thing, if you will, they had more of the pills. Well, those have been proven to not be as effective. Do they work for some people? 100%. Are they good with it? Absolutely. But then you go up into the 2000s and there's more of the pills, but then starting to get into some of the infusions, and those got better over time. And then in 2017 was when Ocrevus was FDA approved, which was like a really big deal. So that's the most aggressive out of all of them. So it's just trying the different medications and seeing what works for you. If it does work, great, you're not getting more lesions. If it doesn't and you are getting more lesions, okay, we need to switch to something else or try something else. So it's definitely about what works and doesn't work with the different medications out there. And now even with the research breakthrough, they're talking about like the myelin sheath, rebuilding your myelin sheath, because that's the biggest part of it. So taking your good myelin sheath and putting it on the trashy myelin sheath. So it's all changing constantly. And there's always something out there trying to like one up each, like Kesimpta's trying to one up Ocrevus because it's at home. No, thank you. I don't want to shoot myself weekly, a monthly. Yeah, absolutely not. I'll go twice a year and sit for 2 hours. That's fine. So it's just about like really what works for people and their lifestyle, how they feel, their age of progression. It's a lot of different factors. So it's really interesting to see how each person is different and then how each medicine affects. There are some people that can't do Ocrevus because it's way too strong for them, but Rituxan's perfectly fine for them. Whereas for me, it was complete opposite. Like I knew I need to be back on the Ocrevus. It's insane.
And it's great that you seem to be at the forefront of you know what's going on. I mean, you're in the right groups. You work for freaking Cleveland Clinic. That's got to help too. But It's so great because I feel like a lot of people like to live, I don't know if the right word is ignorance, but kind of like, but it's treatable. And especially catching it so young, I think you have the advantage here, which is great.
Yeah.
So, and I want to thank you for telling your story because I know it hasn't been an easy journey, but your story is just meant to be told. So thank you for that.
Of course.
As we wrap this up, what piece of advice do you have for listeners?
When you think you're at the point of, I don't know if I want to do this, go find something different. Find what works for you. Challenge yourself. You don't have to be in the same job for the rest of your life. No offense to the older generation. We all don't do that. We're very much job hoppers. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Try different things. I mean, you may think what you wanted to be as a child is like the job you have to have, and that's not true. Like, your life changes so quickly. As you get older, you see different things. You're like, that sounds better. So, I mean, like, finding my supply chain job was one of the best things that I really, really enjoy. And I've met so many amazing people through it too. So just challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to jump to the next thing. The worst they could say is no. Okay, whatever. Pick something else. You got to do what's best for you.
Absolutely. Oh, you're incredible. Well, Arianna, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And for those of you listening, if you want to follow along with her story, head to the show notes and tune again next week for another episode of That's Business.